为了让你生孩子，国家真急了。
To encourage people to have children, the country is truly anxious now. Recently, the General Office of the State Council issued a heavy-hitting document, explicitly elevating childbirth work to a first-in-command project. The purpose of the document is very clear: to spare no effort to boost China's birth rate and alleviate the pressure of population issues. In fact, many places have already begun taking specific actions. Besides the often discussed childbirth subsidies, there's even birth-pushing measures. Some netizens have reported receiving calls from community staff directly asking, "Are you pregnant? Do you have plans to have children?" This level of concern even surpasses that of family members. What's even more striking is that in October, Changsha launched the country's first new-style marriage and childbirth culture street. All the signs along the street are designed around the theme of childbirth, with slogans such as, "I'm the best at raising children," and "Having 3 children is the best," drawing attention. Even some driving schools have seized the opportunity to promote the idea, attempting to change young people's indifferent attitudes towards marriage and childbirth through cultural influence. So, why is the state placing such emphasis on childbirth work? The fundamental reason is that China, once considered a country with an endless supply of people, has now experienced 2 consecutive years of negative population growth. In 2023, the national population decreased by 2.08 million, and the number of newborns was only 9.02 million, setting the lowest record since the founding of the People's Republic of China. Moreover, last year, China was surpassed by India and became the world's second-largest population country. With this year's marriage numbers dropping significantly, the number of births in the next few years may plummet to around 7 million. This trend makes childbirth promotion even more urgent than marriage promotion. In essence, it's not that Chinese people don't want to have children. They simply can't afford to have them or dare not to. Data shows that the cost of childbirth in China is 6.3 times the per capita GDP, which undoubtedly makes many families hesitant about childbirth. The core goal of this document is to fundamentally lower the cost of childbirth. For example, providing more subsidies for high childbirth costs, increasing leave policies to address excessive work pressure, and promoting universal childcare services to address high child-rearing costs. In terms of housing, there are also plans to offer discounts and subsidies. These measures ultimately aim to encourage those who want to have children but don't dare to let go of their concerns and strive to enhance the willingness of those who don't want to have children to consider having them. At the root of it all marriage and childbirth issues boil down to economic issues. Only by improving financial support and social welfare can childbirth encouragement policies truly take effect and not just become empty words. The government's efforts aim to dispel people's worries about childbirth, enabling more people to truly dare to have, want to have, and be able to have children.
你是不是不结婚不生娃？那好，从现在开始，各地的一把手亲自抓生育。
Do you neither want to get married nor have children? If that's the case, from now on, the top leaders across the country will personally take charge of promoting childbirth. I think this approach is quite good. However, there's one issue that needs to be clarified. If having children is defined as a social responsibility, then society should bear the obligation of raising children. But if having children is merely a personal act, then society should respect our men's choice not to marry or have children. Yet, looking at current policies, almost every statement avoids the topic of increasing salaries and benefits, instead emphasizing the spirit of dedication. Every regulation fails to mention any tangible benefits for people, only promoting so-called vision and ambition. In fact, people nowadays are living with increasing clarity and understanding, and everyone's perception of reality is becoming more rational. To say something that might sound a bit selfish, if my life's difficulties have nothing to do with society, then why should the state of society have anything to do with me? Do you all agree with this?
为什么现在年轻人都不愿意结婚了？
Why are more and more young people unwilling to get married these days? When you can barely afford a meal, and survival itself is a challenge, do you really think about what kind of girl to marry? That's just absurd. Do you remember a while ago, a young man in Shenzhen missed the last bus home and couldn't bear to spend a dozen yuan on a taxi? Instead, he walked several kilometers in the pouring rain. When a reporter interviewed him, he choked up and said, "Every day, here 10 yuan, there 10 yuan, and the monthly salary is just so little. 10 yuan is enough for me to eat breakfast for a whole day, even enough to cover my entire day's meals." His words were heartbreaking, and reflect the reality many young people face today. In fact, ordinary people in this society spend 95% of their energy just to survive, talking about ideals, the future, or marriage and children. These things have almost become luxuries. When my father got married, he only needed a motorcycle. When my grandfather got married, it was just a bag of rice. But now, getting married requires a bride price of 300,000 yuan, plus a house and a car, none of which can be skipped. And this doesn't even count the expenses during dating. Ask yourself, if a young person's family doesn't have 2 million yuan, would they dare to get married? This is no longer the era it used to be. The pressure of life has castrated our generation. Daily rent, basic necessities, work, and responsibilities toward parents consume 90% of our energy. I don't even have time to date now, let alone invest the effort required to maintain a relationship and get married. There are even experts saying things like, poor people are poor mainly because they don't want to rent out their houses. And some accuse young people of being unfilial and letting down their parents by not getting married. Such statements honestly make me laugh. A deputy director from Beijing's Human Resources and Social Security Bureau once tried working as a delivery rider for a day. He worked 12 hours and was so exhausted he sat on the curb crying from frustration. He said he worked hard to deliver one order, which took an hour, and earned 6.6 yuan, only to have 50% of it deducted. Later, he realized that only those who can handle 10 or dozens of orders an hour might break 10,000 yuan in monthly income. Even so, despite such hard work, they still can't afford houses or cars, and can only cover their basic living expenses. Take my hometown as an example. The lowest housing price is about 10,000 yuan per square meter. Tell me, how long would it take for a young person to save up enough to buy such a house? Let alone get married. In today's society, if a young person doesn't get help from their parents, how could they ever achieve the dream of building a family and settling down? At 23 or 24, just out of university, what kind of job could allow someone to earn enough for a bride price, a house, and a car? If you can manage not to go into debt, I already think you're extraordinary.
我今年26岁，说句实在话，我不想生孩子。
I am 26 years old this year, and honestly, I don't want to have children. Why do I feel this way? Because I want to live my life well, as an independent individual. At the same time, I want to fulfill my role as a child to the best of my ability, rather than being molded by society into a machine that keeps running, endlessly supplying labor to capital, while hardly receiving any real value in return. Think about it. From when I started elementary school to when I graduated from university, my family invested hundreds of thousands of yuan in me. The expectation behind this investment was that I would graduate and become successful. However, when I stepped into the workplace, I found that the salary I earn barely covers my basic living expenses, let alone allow me to repay my family in any meaningful way. If I project 5 years ahead, assuming my salary increases, what will I face then? I'll need to get married, buy a house, pay a mortgage and car loans. These pressures will be overwhelming. And if the demand to have children is added to the equation, it will be even worse. Not only will I need to raise a child, but I will also have to pay for their education, provide them with the resources they need for growth, and even plan for their future, such as saving for their wedding and other expenses. All of this combined will create an unbearable mountain of responsibilities. More importantly, I don't want to become an unfilial person because of all this. Our parents often say, "Raise children to provide for you in your old age." In the past, this idea may have been realistic. After all, by raising children, one could rely on them for a comfortable old age. However, in today's social environment, this saying no longer holds true. After spending hundreds of thousands of yuan and 20 years raising a child, once the child graduates from university, they become a tool for capital. Their salary only covers their own living expenses, and how can they afford to repay their parents? Some might say that raising children isn't about ensuring old age, but about passing on to the next generation. However, for me, I hope to fulfill my duty as a child in a practical way. Yet, Given the current situation, I'm afraid I won't even be able to accomplish that. This is why I don't want to have children. Even if I have money in the future and am able to get married, I would prefer to spend more of my energy and resources on taking care of my parents, ensuring they have a peaceful old age. I would rather invest my time, money, and energy into managing my own life, such as working hard to pay off my car loan and enjoying each day with my partner. If I have any extra savings, I would put it aside to prepare for potential large expenses for my parents in the future, rather than continuing to invest my limited resources into raising another generation of laborers for capital. For me, the core goal of my life is to accompany my parents and ensure they have a secure old age.
我今年33岁，还是个光棍，没有结婚。我妈天天让我找老婆。
I'm 33 years old this year, still single and haven't gotten married yet. My mother keeps urging me every day to find a wife, but my current thought is it really possible for me to find a wife? I make my own money and spend it myself. Why should I find a wife who needs me to support her every month? If I get a wife, it'll be one person earning and two people spending. If she has a child for me, I'll have to earn money for all three of us. Am I a fool? Do I really want to find a wife who's like an ancestor and will make me suffer? Right now, I make 3,000 yuan a month, and I can live perfectly fine. In fact, if I'm careful with my spending, my income from 2 months is enough to support me for an entire year. But if I were married, even if I earned 5,000 yuan a month, working 12 months a year, I'd still have no savings at all. I didn't come into this world to bear all that pressure. I came to enjoy life. I want to see how flowers bloom, how water flows, how the sun rises and sets, and how the body falls. I'm here to enjoy life, not to carry burdens. I don't think marriage is necessary. In fact, I feel more at ease living alone.
没有结婚的人生有多爽？89年虚岁37岁的我，快要奔4了。
How great is life without marriage? I'm 37 this year, and in a few years I'll be turning 40. Looking back at my life, I've already gone through more than half of it, and I still haven't gotten married, no wife, no children, no house, no car. I don't have any mortgage or car loan, and I don't owe any debts. I've just worked my whole life, and the money I've saved up is all I have. The rest of my life will depend on this amount. I also occasionally do some side gigs, so my living expenses are not a problem. I can easily take care of my food, drinks, and accommodation. As long as I have enough to eat, I'm fine. Life is simple yet fulfilling, and I feel that I can live steadily every day. For me, this situation is already good enough. Every day I eat and sleep, and when I wake up I eat again. My life rhythm is entirely under my own control. I can do whatever I want without any external pressure. Today is Wednesday, which is a good time to go out and take a stroll. If the weather is bad, I stay at home and read books. If the weather is good, I go out for a walk and enjoy my free days. I think maybe I'm living a bit like I'm already retired. Some people ask me why I don't go back to the countryside to live. Life there is cheaper, and many people plan to return to the countryside to enjoy a peaceful life after retirement. But I feel that the city is far better than the countryside. Whether it's food, clothing, housing, or medical care, the cost of living in the city is much lower than in the countryside. I went to a nearby large supermarket and tried some free samples. The imported Japanese eggs, although from Japan, taste almost the same as local eggs produced by our soil. I also tried some spicy seaweed jellyfish salad and bought 5 yuan worth of it. There was this very tempting durian cake, and many people were watching, so I couldn't resist and tried a piece. The durian cake was cool and sweet, and I initially thought it would have the smelly durian flavor, but it didn't, and it was delicious. However, 40 yuan per pound is a bit expensive. Let's look at how low the cost of living is in big cities. 3 crown pears cost less than 3 yuan, and for 3 yuan you can get a pound of red Fuji apples. Thai imported jackfruit is only 10 yuan per pound, and Thai imported mangosteen costs 5 yuan for 4 pieces. Moreover, many fruits and vegetables in the supermarket cost less than 1 yuan per pound, which is very cheap. The ready-to-eat food section is my favorite. The cooked food that's prepared in the morning becomes cheaper as the day gets closer to closing time. The taste also gets better and better. Taiwanese sausages, originally priced at 20 yuan, are now half price, so I took one home to cook. Tofu products are also being heavily discounted. Small fried tofu and bean sprouts together cost only 3.52 yuan, enough for me to eat for 2 days. The bakery section is also a favorite. I tried a durian shrimp-flavored pizza, which tasted nice, fragrant and sweet. Although it wasn't freshly baked and hot, it was still delicious. Lastly, I had a glass of happy drink to refresh my throat. After shopping at the supermarket, I spent less than 8 yuan in total. This is the reason I don't want to go back to the countryside. The cost of living in the city is even cheaper than fresh produce just picked from the fields. Also, all the services in the city are designed for citizens. The supermarket has free tasting benefits, and to save money, I often go alone to try free samples. This way, I can save a lot on my living expenses. If you're frugal enough, living in the city might cost even less than in the countryside, and you can enjoy more benefits. I think we are living in the best time. People nowadays no longer worry about starving. Even if you don't work for a few years or even never work the land your whole life, you can still live well, eat well and live well. Now, the money I've saved is enough to support me in living a high-quality life. Though it's not a huge amount, it's sufficient for my expenses. For the rest of my life, single life is more than enough, but if I were to get married, I feel like it wouldn't be enough. There are many different choices in life. Being unmarried has its own pleasures, but it also comes with loneliness. On the other hand, being married brings its own troubles, but you get to enjoy having someone to serve hot meals after work, someone to take care of you when you're sick, and someone to comfort you when you're feeling down. More importantly, having children gives you a goal to strive for. Being together with family, enjoying warmth and harmony, and happiness is something that single people can never experience. No matter whether I get married or not, we should all face each day with a positive attitude. Crying is still a day, laughing is still a day, feeling sad is still a day, and being happy is still a day. Now, I'm unmarried and free, so why not be happy?
As more and more men in China choose not to get married or have children, who is feeling the most anxious? According to the latest data released by the Civil Affairs Bureau, only 7.63 million couples registered for marriage last year, which is almost half of the number in 2013. If this trend continues, young people choosing not to marry will mean that multiple industries will face difficulties. For example, the demand for jewelry and accessories will decrease. Wedding photography studios will lose clients, and the sales of baby formula will be affected. If there are no young people getting married, who will buy houses? Who will go to beauty salons, dance classes, or piano lessons? How will entertainment venues such as zoos, amusement parks, and aquariums maintain operations? Not to mention, many families no longer need to pick up their wives from work or take their children to school. As a result, people may feel that there is no need to buy so many cars. As for housing, if people don't get married, the demand for buying houses will drastically decrease, and renting could solve the housing problem. Moreover, the extravagant dowry demands will disappear, and many leftover women will feel even more anxious. In fact, these changes directly affect the demand and consumption levels of a series of industries. When the demand in these industries decreases and the industry scale shrinks, many people will face the dilemma of unemployment. Unemployment, in turn, will lead to a sharp contraction in consumption. This chain of changes will ultimately impact the overall economic situation. Therefore, when asked who is most anxious about young people not getting married, the answer is clear. It's society and the economy as a whole that will face significant impacts. Friends in front of the screen, who do you think is most anxious about Chinese men choosing not to get married or have children? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section, and let's explore this issue together. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to provide better programs for you. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.